Welcome to today's story. This is not just a simple horror story, but a journey into the dark corners of fear, where things we cannot explain lurk just on the edge of reality. There are stories that, after listening, you will wonder, is it true? But you know, there are things in this life that, even if you don't see them, doesn't mean they don't exist. Listen with both your heart and mind. And if the story sends chills down your spine, remember, maybe, someone is listening with you. Now, turn down the lights, and let's get started. I am a storyteller. The story I am about to tell you is not an ordinary story. It is not simply a legend or a horror story passed down through word of mouth for generations. This is a true story, a story about a horrifying obsession that if you don't have the courage, I advise you to stop now. It all started on a damp autumn evening. I received a letter without the sender's name. The paper was yellow, the words written in black ink were faded. The letter consisted of just a few lines. If you remember what you promised, come to number 13 on Elm Street tonight. We're waiting. I can't remember what I promised, but the name Elm Street sent chills down my spine. That's the path that my childhood friends and I once explored. We once dared to step into the cursed house at the end of that road, and something terrible happened that fateful night. Reminiscing about the past. Rewind to the past, scene of 4 children standing in front of an abandoned house, pale moonlight, creepy atmosphere. At that time, we were still curious children, believing that ghosts were just a fabrication. But as soon as we entered the house, we realized we had made a mistake. The door slammed shut behind him. No one could open it. The surrounding wall seemed to be breathing, whispering incomprehensible words. Then we saw it. The screen goes black, only the sounds of screaming, rapid breathing, and strange laughter remain. When we woke up, we were outside. But no one remembers what happened after the door closed. And the worst part is, one of us never returned. Returned to the house. Returning to reality, I stood in front of the house on Elm Street again. It's still there, rotten and full of mystery. But this time, I don't go alone. The shadows of 3 other people appeared in the night. Those were old friends, the people who walked out of the house with me in the past. Everyone carried an unspoken obsession. Neither of us said anything, we just quietly entered the house, as if there was an invisible force leading us. Inside, everything remains the same, the walls are covered with moss, the furniture is covered with dust, the space is filled with an indescribable dark scent. But this time, we felt not only fear, but also the presence of something. The sound of whispers rang out from all directions, the laughter gradually became clearer. The darkness seemed to be moving. You promised to come back, you owe me. The flash suddenly flashed, illuminating a distorted face, empty eyes staring at us. Scene 5, The Hidden Truth. As children, we were too scared to remember what happened. But the house did not forget. It forces us to remember. Fast forward the images, a strange ritual, a figure kneeling and begging, a bloody hand with long claws digging into the floor. It turns out, our missing friend never left here. It's still here, imprisoned between 2 worlds, waiting for the day we return to complete the contract. We cannot escape. The door is sealed, the darkness tightens. A voice whispered in my ear. You will stay here, forever. The screen goes black, only the scream remains. The darkness gradually disappears, leaving only the image of an old, dilapidated house and flickering street lights. That night, only 3 people walked out of the house. But I know well, it's not over yet. And if you ever receive a mysterious invitation like me, remember. Once you enter that house, you never really leave.